Thanks for having us on your show again, all your hard work that you're doing. And Dr. James, you're 1,000% right. All the work that you and the school district are doing in Iredell County, and you know this, but I think it's important for the listeners to know, based on where you were from the state standards before you became superintendent, and how now you have moved this entire district and community up. So I tell people, don't get weary in your well-doing, because for much is given, much is required, my friend. So they're going to talk about you, good, bad, or indifferent. But Dream Builders Communication is now, we're old, Billy. We're like 22 years old. But it started with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Terry Holliday giving us a shot in Iredell Statesville Schools. And I knew Dr. James when he was the principal at Troutman. So I've been following him. Seems like everywhere he goes, he brings me with me. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But I remember when he went to be, I know, right, a regional superintendent and a superintendent in another district. So this is not his first rodeo. But for Iredell Statesville Schools, we go in first with the assessment approach. And the assessment means every teacher needs something different. Every principal needs something different. Let's be honest, every parent needs something different. And ultimately, our babies, every child needs something different. So some may need additional skills in math or reading or character ed. Here's a big one, confidence and mental health.
Absolutely.
Those are huge right now. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We're super excited. We're at South Iredell. We're at, and that's where I went to high school at. We're also at Statesville High School, which had a phenomenal event last night. It was over 200 people. So I know for those that are listening, it was a community event. So a shout out to all those individuals. Then we're at our 3 middle schools. In this particular side, we have East, West, and I'm super excited about the relationship at Third Creek. And then the work that they're doing at MB Mills. All of those principals, staff, and teachers, students, and parents, they're rock stars. But every part of our process is different. What you see at Third Creek is not what you're going to see at East Iredell Middle. But those folks are working hard. But the biggest thing I would say, Dr. James, is it's a partnership. You've got to get in with the principals. You've got to get in with the staff. And they want to be heard. Teachers are working now harder than ever before. So they don't want somebody coming in and spying on them and say, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that. So we go with an approach of, how can I help you? Regardless if it's a person on our team that has a doctorate to a bachelor's degree. So imagine having an additional arm or support inside of your classroom. We're also doing trainings now with belonging to make sure, how do we make sure we love on everybody? Iredell County is a great place. So how do we keep loving on everybody? So those are some of the high level things, and we'll get into some of the data stuff a little bit later. But Dr. James, that gives you a good overview. And he put me on the spot, listeners. He knows what we do. He could have told you. Billy, we started, it was just myself and like 2 other people. And now we have an office in Charlotte and an office in Atlanta and in Chesapeake, Virginia. And I say that humbly. But as I look at school districts across the country, I'll leave here in Denver, Colorado, Monday. I'm in Chicago Tuesday. And as I look at the work that Iredell Statesville has done, and a lot of times people say, well, what's the differentiator? It's got to start with leadership. So if the listeners are out there, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. You've got to invest in not just students that are academically behind, but you've got to invest in students that are academically gifted. And I think that's one of the differentiators that Iredell Statesville has begun to do, because it's not like mom and daddy will say, you know what, Billy, you're the good one. You go to school. In Kinston, and Dr. James, you're the bad one, so you stay at home. What parents are doing now, parents are struggling too. So parents, if you're listening out there, first and foremost, thank you. We know that some of you are working 2 and 3 jobs. Here's a funny for you. Some of you are working from 8 to faint. But at the end of the day, that's what I think where Iredell Statesville is differentiating, because we're putting programs in place after school. We're putting programs in place before school. Think about what Dr. James just said. Food nutrition is thinking about ways to be innovative to make sure that children eat. I don't care how good your programs are. If I am hungry, I will not perform academically. Some schools we go in the mornings, in the afternoons, it just depends on what's what. We can tell a difference at the 9:30 time frame when children begin to look lethargic that did not have breakfast.
9:30.
9:30.
Wow.
For the children that did not have breakfast.
Right.
We can also see that when teachers give tests after lunch,
Mm-hmm.
students have had a little bit of nutrition, especially if it's a healthy, nutritious meal, which it should be, and it is. But what we're beginning to see is now students are giving more attention to the educator. When you begin to look at just the framework of the basic education of the food piece, it makes it so much easier for us when we go in to start looking at ways to teach academic performance. Because when you look at, let's just say, a math lesson, and Kelly Cooper and her team, secondary, and Jonathan, those guys in elementary, they're doing a great job. But here's the challenge. If I'm a new teacher and I don't really understand what's going on in the child's home life,
Right.
and then I don't understand what's going on in their psychological life, but I can have a little bit of food, it's about relationship building.
Absolutely.
It is amazing that where a little bit of food makes a relationship go a long way. Two of our lead trainers in Iredell Statesville are Iredell Statesville guys. One, we call him Coach Summers, and one we call him Coach Reniger. And these guys are coaches. One coaches football, one coaches baseball and basketball. But what they're really doing, because you're looking at academic learning loss. That's what we're really looking at. So when we go into a school, we sit down with the administrator and say, tell us where you need to be today.
Okay.
Today.
Right.
Because just because we have a contract that says you're going to serve X students, the goal is to be a good partner. So when you look at today, if you have two teachers absent and we normally go to the third grade, this may be the day that we have to go to the fifth grade. So as you're going into that fifth grade classroom, you're really looking at building rapport with the student. But bigger than that, they have something called PLCs. Then we sit in the PLC meeting, and then we work with the particular
learning community.
Yes, professional learning
Nice,
communities.
Very nice.
So we'll sit in the professional learning community and say, well, tell us what went well, versus saying, well, you needed to do it this way.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think we could do to support you. That is a differentiator versus someone sharing what you have to do and what you don't have to do. So I think the awareness, the relationship building, and getting in and really understanding the value of academic learning loss. But if you can turn academic learning love, you won't have as much academic learning loss. Yeah, just go to dreambuilderscommunication.com. You can reach out to us there. We went live this morning on Facebook, so I see there's about about 80 people out there. So thanks for everybody that joined us on Facebook. But to Dr. James and the school board, and to you, Billy, and our great community, because I'm an Iredell Statesville guy. I would say, let's just keep pushing. It's a great place. There's 115 superintendent jobs out throughout the state, 115 superintendents. And I would say that Dr. James is one of the most seasoned one of the most seasoned and experienced ones. So we've got to keep pushing together, and let's just do the right thing for children. So the way that we typically do it, we try to work with districts with a minimum of a 3-year agreement, and we're in our second year of our 3-year agreement. And what that does is you can have consistency in schools and districts. So we'll probably have the same schools next year with maybe a few additional services. The last thing I'll say is anybody that's looking to be a teacher, we are supporting Iredell Statesville schools with teacher recruitment. Yes. So go on our website. We are going to some colleges. One is Livingstone College. One is Winston-Salem State. One is UNC Charlotte. One will be Queens and Pfeiffer. And I'm leaving a few out, but we are coming to your schools to start recruiting for the 2023 recruitment. We have got to get some good people in our district to help our children and parents.
Just the one where it says, we need your brain?
That's
it. Need to feed your brain.
Feed your brain, feed your brain.
All right, well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you both. Have a great day, everybody.
You too.